Hello viewers, welcome to EPG Pathsala. I am Dr. R. Papa Amal, Assistant Professor, Department of Science and Humanities, Faculty of Engineering, Avinash Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women. In this module, we are going to see about role of specific protein metabolites, transporters and inhibitors on specific body function. Coming to that introduction part, the protein is an important substance present in the body. They are the building blocks of the organism. They are main source of energy. Some of the hormones are protein in nature, example insulin. Enzymes are protein in nature which speed up the biological reaction. Protein is a major element used for the transportation and storage. Hemoglobin is used for the transfer of oxygen and ferritin is used for the storage of iron in liver. Protein form antibodies that help in preventing infection and the formation of diseases. Some of the proteins act as inhibitors which inhibit proteases. The objective of the module is to study the protein metabolites and its significance in body function, and also to understand the role of protein as a transporters and inhibitors. Some of the protein metabolites are collagen. It is most abundant vertebrate proteins present in multicellular animals. Strong and insoluble fibers are the main stress-bearing component of connective tissues like a bone, teeth, cartilage, tendon and the fibrous matrices of blood vessels and skin. 3 polypeptide chain constitute a single collagen molecule. Mammals have 20 different collagen varieties present in different tissues of the same individual. One of the most predominant collagen called type 1 consists of 2 alpha-1 chains and 1 alpha-2 chain. It has a molecular weight of 285 kilodalton and a width of 14 Armstrong unit and a length of 3000 Armstrong unit. Coming to the composition of a collagen point of view, it has a unique amino acid composition. Approximately 1/3 of the residues are glycine and another 1/3 comprises proline and 4 hydroxyprolyl residues. 3 hydroxyprolyl and 5 hydroxylysyl residues are also occur in collagen in lesser amounts. After the collagen polypeptide synthesis, only these non-standard residues are formed. For example, proline is converted into prolyl hydroxylase which requires vitamin C to maintain its activity. The objective of the module is to study the protein metabolites and its significance in body function, and also to understand the role of protein as a transporters and inhibitors. Some of the protein metabolites are collagen. It is most abundant vertebrate proteins present in multicellular animals. Strong and insoluble fibers are the main stress-bearing component of connective tissues like a bone, teeth, cartilage, tendon and the fibrous matrices of blood vessels and skin. 3 polypeptide chain constitute a single collagen molecule. Mammals have 20 different collagen varieties present in different tissues of the same individual. One of the most predominant collagen called type 1 consists of 2 alpha-1 chains and 1 alpha-2 chain. It has a molecular weight of 285 kilodalton and a width of 14 Armstrong unit and a length of 3000 Armstrong unit. Coming to the composition of a collagen point of view, it has a unique amino acid composition. Approximately 1/3 of the residues are glycine and another 1/3 comprises proline and 4 hydroxyprolyl residues. 3 hydroxyprolyl and 5 hydroxylysyl residues are also occur in collagen in lesser amounts. After the collagen polypeptide synthesis, only these non-standard residues are formed. For example, proline is converted into prolyl hydroxylase which requires vitamin C to maintain its activity. The amino acid sequence of polypeptide chain consists of repeated triplets of sequence glycine, proline and hydroxyproline over a segment of approximately 1000 residues. Sometimes hydroxylysine is appeared in the place of hydroxyproline. The abundant and relatively rigid proline and hydroxyproline residues confer rigidity on the entire assembly of collagen. Collagen is rich in the amino acid proline which helps to maintain the helical formation. Specifically, collagen consists of repeated sequence of 3 amino acids, one of which is usually proline. The modified form of proline is known as hydroxyproline. Glucose and galactose are often attached to proline before collagen winds into characteristics of helical formation. Coming to the functions of a collagen, collagen helps to maintain the health of the skin, bones and internal organs such as liver and lungs. Proline is an important constituent of collagen, virtually present in every type of food that has a protein. The body can synthesize proline from another amino acid, so it is non-essential in the diet. Proline may reduce the hypertension and lower the risk of heart disease. Lysine is an amino acid found in appreciable quantities in all types of a collagen. Specifically, lysine is hydroxylated by a chemical reaction before it becomes a part of the collagen. Hydroxylysine helps to stabilize the collagen molecule and provide tensile strength. It is an essential amino acid that must be obtained through the diet. The best sources of lysine include dairy products such as yogurt, cheese, milk, seafood is also rich in lysine. Lysine helps to treat herpes infection and enhance the absorption of calcium. Ascorbic acid does not form the part of the collagen molecule. Rather, it is required for the reaction to form hydroxylysine and hydroxyproline and is essential to stabilize the collagen molecule. Without adequate dietary ascorbic acid, collagen fibers cannot be cross-linked, greatly decreasing the tensile strength. Deficiency can lead to bleeding gums, a condition known as scurvy. Sweet red peppers and strawberries are the excellent sources of vitamin C. The next peptide is a glutathione. It is a tripeptide. It is an antioxidant composed of 3 amino acids such as cysteine, glutamic acid and glycine. It is a natural water-soluble cellular antioxidant which is also known as free radical scavenger. It is a molecule that is easily able to donate electrons to another electron deficient molecule. It is an essential compound which play a vital role in the body's natural defense system. It is an important cellular antioxidant that protects the cells against the oxidative stress, and it has a critical role in cellular detoxification process. It is essential and it is available in 2 forms in the body. The active form is an electron donating and antioxidant form is called reduced glutathione, and oxidized and electron deficient inactive form is called oxidized glutathione. Occurrence of glutathione in the body. All cells have a glutathione. However, glutathione is found in high concentration in the liver, kidney, lungs and nervous tissues, skin and the lens of the eye, where it has a crucial protective function in preventing the oxidative damage to these tissues. Cellular levels of antioxidant substances like selenium, vitamin E and vitamin C can be increased simply by increasing the dietary or supplementary intake, whereas the glutathione is only produced in the cells from the precursor molecules. Coming to the functions of the glutathione, it is used to control the free radicals produced in the cells. Free radicals are reactive substances that contain one or more unpaired electrons. Free radicals are naturally produced by chemical reactions, by toxins and by radiation to which the body is exposed. These damaging chemicals are neutralized by antioxidants, or else these reactive molecules will uptake the electron from the cellular molecules and create a chain reaction of destruction. The tissue reaction created by free radicals are now thought to be involved in the premature aging, cancer, atherosclerosis, arthritis, immune disorders and other degenerative diseases. Other main antioxidant function, it can act as a detoxifier and also assist in the synthesis of both protein and DNA. It is also involved in the transport of amino acid into the cell and regulate the activity of some enzymes. Glutathione levels decreases with age in diseased states. Low levels have been associated with the premature death and accelerated aging. Glutathione levels can promote the depleted in the cells of the individual with cancer, chemical and heavy metal toxicity and various nutritional deficiencies, AIDS and other chronic viral infection and autoimmune diseases. The maintenance of adequate level of glutathione is critical for the protection of cells and tissues that are degenerated. Severe exercise can also deplete the antioxidants in the body. The next type of peptides, they are vasoactive peptides. Three groups of well-defined peptides which possess vasoactive properties. They are neurohypophyseal hormones, angiotensins and kinins. Neurohypophyseal hormones, which includes oxytocin and vasopressin. Coming to that oxytocin, it stimulates the contraction of the smooth muscles of uterus and facilitate the childbirth. It also stimulates the contraction of mammary glands and resulting in milk ejection. Oxytocin level increased by suckling, which is needed for the formation of milk by the breast. The milk secretion is gradually decreases after 8 months. After that, it gradually decreases and finally ceases. Vasopressin, it causes increase in blood pressure by contraction of peripheral blood vessels, and also vasopressin have antidiuretic action. It decreases the urine volume by causing renal tubules to withhold more water. It is used against the diabetes insipidus, a disease characterized by excretion of large quantity of urine called polyuria, and marked thirst, it is called polydipsia. The next one is angiotensin. The renin-angiotensin system is a hormone system that is involved in the regulation of plasma sodium concentration and arterial blood pressure. When the plasma sodium concentration is lower than normal or the renal blood flow is reduced, the juxtaglomerular cells in the kidneys convert the prorenin into renin, which is then secreted directly into the circulation. It is a proteinase and acts as angiotensinogen. It is a decapeptide formed from angiotensinogen by the enzyme renin. Then by the removal of two amino acids to form octapeptide known as angiotensin 2 by the enzyme angiotensin converting enzyme found in the endothelial cells of the capillaries throughout the body, lungs and epithelial cells of the kidney. Angiotensin 2 is converted into angiotensin 3, which is a heptapeptide by the enzyme angiotensinase. Angiotensin 1 has a mild effect on blood pressure, whereas angiotensin 2 is a powerful vasoconstrictor which produces hypertension. Angiotensin 2 also stimulates the secretion of hormone aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. Aldosterone causes the tubular epithelial cells of the kidney to increase the reabsorption of sodium ions from the tubular fluid back into the blood, while at the same time causing them to excrete potassium ions into the tubular fluid which form the urine. The next one is the kinins. They are a group of peptides which contain 9 to 11 amino acid residues with the biological activities of smooth muscle contraction, vasodilatation, lowering of blood pressure and increase the blood flow. Bradykinin and kallidin are typical examples of kinins. The next one is a transporters. They are the mainly globular proteins. They are generally packed with the polar side groups on the outside to enhance their solubility in water. They are typically have a non-polar side chains folded to the inside to keep the water from getting in and unfolding them. Serum albumin can transfer water insoluble lipids in the bloodstream. Hemoglobin is another transport protein which carries the oxygen from the lungs to the tissue. Myoglobin performs a similar function in muscle tissue, taking oxygen from the hemoglobin in the blood and storing it or carrying it around until it required by the muscle cells. Hemoglobin and myoglobin have a similar structure. Myoglobin contains 151 amino acid residues and a heme group bonded to oxygen. Hemoglobin has 4 similar chains, 2 with 141 residues and a heme group and 2 with 146 residues and a heme group. The molecular weight of a hemoglobin is about 64,500 and can carry 4 oxygen molecules. It is an important in the hemoglobin can bond to the oxygen under certain conditions. But it is equally important that hemoglobin can release oxygen under these conditions. The ability of the hemoglobin to bind the oxygen is sensitive to several factors which include pH, temperature, concentration of oxygen and carbon dioxide. It seems that when oxygen binds to the hemoglobin, the structure of the hemoglobin changes in a way that it makes it better at binding to more oxygen, thus enhancing its ability to carry more oxygen. The next one is a cytochrome. It is another type. It is different group of a carrier molecule. It is known as cytochromes. They are the electron carrier proteins that operate in the electron transport chain, which is a part of the respiration process. They carry electron from the hydrogen atoms of the citric acid cycle. Finally, the hydrogen and oxygen combine to form a water molecule. The energy released in this series of reaction is used for the formation of ATP from ADP. The membrane protein involved in the movement of ions, small molecules or macromolecules such as another protein across a biological membrane. The transport of proteins or integral or intrinsic protein, which is associated tightly with the membrane and can be separated with the membrane by using a detergent like a sodium dodecyl sulfate, which disrupt the membrane. Example of the intrinsic protein is aquaphorins. Extrinsic or peripheral protein can be dissociated from the membrane by relatively mild procedures such as changing the pH. Example, cytochrome C. The proteins may assist in the movement of substances by facilitated diffusion or otherwise active transport. The two main types of proteins involved in such a transport are broadly categorized as either channels or carriers. A carrier is not open simultaneously to both extracellular and intracellular environments. Either its inner gate or outer gate is open. In contrast, the channel can be open to both the environments at the same time, allowing the solutes it transport to diffuse without any interruption. The carriers have a binding sites, but channels do not have a binding sites. When a channel is open, the millions of ions can pass through the membrane per second. But only 100 to 1000 molecules can pass through the carrier molecule at a time. Each carrier protein is designed to recognize only one substance or one group of very similar substances. Active transport is the migration of substance across the membrane against the concentration gradient. This is usually to accumulate high concentration of molecules that a cell needs, such as glucose or amino acid. When the lipid bilayer is impermeable to the molecule which need to be transferred, active transport is essential. If the phenomenon uses chemical energy such as adenosine triphosphate, it is called primary active transport. In the secondary active transport, the energy is used to transport the molecules across the membrane. However, in contrast to primary active transport, there is no direct coupling of ATP. Instead of it depend upon the electrochemical potential difference created by pumping ions in and out of the cell. The first one is a P-type ATPases which undergo phosphorylation as the transport of cations such as sodium, potassium and calcium ions. The next one is a F-type ATPases or proton transporting complexes located in the mitochondria and bacterial membranes. Instead of using the free energy of ATP pump protons against their concentration gradient, these proteins operate in reverse in order to synthesize ATP. The next one is a V-type ATPases which resemble the F-type ATPases and occur in acidic vesicles such as animal lysosome. A-type ATPases which transfer anions across the membrane. The ABC transporters are named for their ATP binding cassette and transport a wide variety of substances which includes ions, small metabolites and drug molecules. Facilitated diffusion is the passage of molecules or ions across the biological membrane through a specific transport proteins and it doesn't require any energy. Facilitated diffusion is used especially in the case of large polar molecules and charged ions. Once such ions are dissolved in water, they cannot diffuse freely across the cell membrane due to the hydrophobic nature of the fatty acid tails of the phospholipids that make up the bilayers. The type of carrier proteins used in facilitated diffusion is slightly different from those used in active transport. They are still transmembrane carrier proteins, but these are gated transmembrane channels, meaning they do not internally translocate nor require ATP to function. The substrate is taken in one side of the gated carrier, and without using ATP, the substrate is released into the cell. In this type of transport, more than one substrate can be transferred at a time. According to the stoichiometry of the transport process, it is categorized into three types. The first one is a uniport, involves the transport of a single molecule at a time. The symport is simultaneously transfer two different molecules in the same direction. And the antiport is simultaneously two different molecules in the opposite direction. Coming to the functions of a transport protein. So the main function in both active and passive transport to move molecules across the plasma membrane. Two main groups of transport proteins can be found within the plasma membrane, and each helps water-loving molecules to pass across the membrane. A channel protein serves as a channel across the membrane into the cell. More specifically, the channel protein helps molecules across the membrane via the passive transport, a process called facilitated diffusion. These channel proteins are responsible for bringing in ions and other small molecules into the cell. It's important to remember that each channel protein can only bring in a specific molecule. For example, calcium channel can only be used to transport calcium in and out of the cell. There are different types of channel proteins for different molecules, including ones for sodium, potassium, and chloride. Even a channel specifically for transporting the water across a plasma membrane. The other type of a transport protein is called carrier protein that have to change the shape in order to pass the molecules across the plasma membrane. The last one is the inhibitors of a carrier protein. The carrier proteins can be affected by competitive inhibitors. Hemoglobin is a carrier protein that transports oxygen from the lungs to the muscle tissue and other cells. However, carbon monoxide is a molecule which is compete with the oxygen for the binding sites of the hemoglobin. If they are present in high enough concentration, they prevent sufficient oxygen from getting into the tissues and the organism dies. Cyanide is another poison that affects the respiration. It acts by inhibiting the cytochrome proteins that are an integral part of the electron transport system in respiration. Angiotensin converting enzyme, which is abbreviated as ACE, they are inhibitors or a group of medicines that are used in the treatment of various disorders. They are captopril, enalapril, and so on. Some of the ACE inhibitor medicines are also a part of combined tablet with a calcium channel blocker or diuretic medicine. ACE inhibitors are used to treat the following condition. The first one is the hypertension. The ACE inhibitors usually work well to lower the blood pressure. The next one is the heart failure. These inhibitors reduces the strain on the heart by decreasing the amount of fluid pumped around the body. They also help the heart by relaxing the blood vessels. It reduces the amount of force needed to eject the blood from heart. The next one is the diabetic nephropathy. These medicines help to maintain normal kidney function. The next one is a chronic kidney disease. The ACE inhibitors may help to slow the progress of kidney diseases. After the myocardial infarction also we can use. The next one is the protease inhibitors or molecules that inhibit the function of protease which aid the breakdown of proteins. Many naturally occurring protease inhibitors are proteins. The protease inhibitors are classified either by the type of protease they inhibit or by their mechanism of action. The classification of protease inhibitors based on the proteases are aspartic protease inhibitor, cysteine protease inhibitor, metalloprotease inhibitor, serine protease inhibitor, threonine protease inhibitors, and trypsin inhibitors. And the classification of protein inhibitors based on the mechanisms are suicidal inhibitors, transition state inhibitor, protein protease inhibitors, and chelating agents. Coming to the conclusion part, protein is an important component of every cell in the body. Hair, nails are mostly made up of protein. The collagen is the essential component which is present in the hair, skin, nail and liver. Glutathione is a peptide which acts as an antioxidant. Angiotensins and kinins are a peptide hormone play a vital role in the maintenance of blood pressure. Transport proteins play an effective role in the transport of ions and proteins. Some of the protein inhibitors also play a beneficial role to the body. Example, serine protease inhibitors. Thank you.